Today, it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Joseph Malassi, who is a diplomatic, political, and climate change advisor to the Democratic Republic of Congo. We're honored to have his presence here, and he's going to speak first about a partnership between dClimate and the DRC government. And I turn it over to you, and then we'll talk a little bit afterwards.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. I would like to first kind of prepare you morally because I'm from a French-speaking country, of course from an African-speaking country, and then French also. So time to time, my English may not be the one that you expect, and I hope that you will understand me in what I mean. On behalf of my minister, Excellency Yves Bazaiba Masudi, who really wanted to be here herself, to stand here and have this conversation with you concerning this partnership that is being developed between the Democratic Republic of the Congo and the dClimate, but who at the last moment was called for state duties in Washington. So I came here to represent her. And I trust that in the coming weeks and months, she will certainly be here as this momentum has started between us and dClimate. 200 years ago, the world invented industrialization. And we all benefited and enjoyed what industry did to our world. But very little did we know from the start that the very same thing that we valued and that made our economies, that changed our world, the industry and what is connected to it, was to cause the biggest threat to the humankind, which we call climate change. Yes, the climate is changing. Science have reported this to us. Science have discovered this. And science has not only discovered that climate was changing, science has also proposed solutions to what we can do to stop and to inverse this trend to chaos. One thing is very good with us humans is when we come together, we can achieve wonders. And when we are divided, we're going nowhere. One of the solutions that science have shown us today is what we call nature-based solution, to stop climate change and to regain control over the nature. And in this nature-based solution, we have forest resources and natural resources, protection, control, and preservation in the heart of the action. And of course, we have forest resources as one of the assets that we have today more than anything else to protect, to preserve, and to save from destruction. I am from an African country, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and my country is home to 155 million hectares of the tropical rainforest. My country is one of the 3 biggest lungs of the planet when it comes to oxygen production and carbon sequestration. From a superficial perspective, we are right after Brazil. And my basin, Congo Basin, is right after the Amazonian basin, which you know better. We are today in this meeting to salute a partnership that is starting between dClimate, which is one of the leading technological and the climate change company worldwide. This partnership, this nascent partnership, I wanted to say, sorry, I'm here to talk about it because from what we have seen during the long month that we took discussing with dClimate, we have discovered that this is going to be one of the biggest solutions for forest preservation in our context, I mean the Congo Basin. And not only for the Congo Basin, but also it's going to be the missing link, a solution for forest conservation. As you may know today, forest conservation and the value of forests in carbon sequestration and in fighting against climate change is under a big threat. I mean, medias and some political led statements have made the value of forest conservation and forest resources drop during the last few months. But we think that partnerships such as the one underway between dClimate and the DRC is going to put back the hope. You know, we may invent machines to sequester carbon, as we have many devices that can sequester carbon, but we will never have machines that can produce oxygen for us to breathe. We will never have anything to replace forests when it comes to biodiversity protection. And whatever comes like artificial action will always, tomorrow after tomorrow, show itself that it was the wrong way to take. Nature-based solution for climate change is what we need today. And we are here to praise all the effort that our partner, our future partner, one of the biggest that we're going to have, is building. And the effort that the CYCLOPS app that you have put in place is going to be a major contribution to forest conservation and to forest preservation. So on behalf of my minister, as I said, who really wanted to be here and speak herself, I'm here to take this opportunity to thank dClimate as an organization. Thank you very much. To thank as well Philip, who is always under the shade. He doesn't want to show himself, but a real hero in the shadow. And also Dr. Ray, that is always on the forefront to negotiate and to make possible the preservation and the conservation of this land that we all need in the very heart of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Malassi. That was wonderful. And thank you again for your support and DRC's support. I would like to thank Her Honorable Excellency, the Minister Eve Bazaiba, for all her support for this. We know that women and children are especially affected by climate risks, but it is wonderful to see her being at the forefront of fighting climate change. If you have any words about the Honorable Minister, how it is working with her and what you see, you and her see as the future path here in the DRC.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I think this is a praise and a bouquet of flowers. In French, we say bouquet de fleurs. Bouquet of flowers I'm throwing to all the women that are here, because in the African context today, women are leading the fight against climate change. And in the context of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, of course, Madam Eve Bazaiba is a leading woman, a leading politician woman, that has made possible all the partnerships, such as this one, between the DRC and dClimate to happen for the sake of saving the forest. And through saving the forest and bringing in the climate finances that comes behind carbon crediting, she sees and she has seen and she continues seeing poverty alleviation. You may have heard that agriculture is one of the causes of deforestation in the Congo Basin. You may have heard that infrastructures or whatever causes or energy poverty supply, but the underlying cause of deforestation actually is the extreme poverty that is in the region. And through this carbon market and compensation for forest protection and preservation, this is going to be a massive assistance, a massive relief to the pain of ladies, to the pain of children, to the pain of youth in a context that is not always easy to live in. I was one day, I think it was in Europe, discussing like we are discussing today, and I asked to the audience, who among you have ever cut down a tree? And it was white, of course, and almost no one had that experience. And maybe I'm tempted to ask the same question here. Who ever cut a tree using a knife? Yes, a knife. A knife, okay. Okay, so no one has ever cut a tree using a knife. But I'm informing you today that in my country, simple women, I want you to feel the pain they feel when they do so. Simple women can cut a tree of this size during weeks and weeks. She comes today on Monday, she cuts a little. On Tuesday, on Wednesday, she continues cutting until the tree falls down. And the hope of the lady is to get some ground to plant maize because she must make a living for a family. That's today, with climate change, unacceptable. And we can change this situation only if we have a partnership between you industrialized countries and our context. We have the forests that the world needs today, but those forests are being cut down because of extreme poverty. We should act today. And this partnership and that woman, Madame Bazaiba, that has made it possible is really to be praised, because this is a great vision that the region needs. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Our goal is to put a fair value, a real value on the forests, resources, natural resources that the Congo has. And we want to work with DRC in partnership and meet the commitments of Article 6 and the Paris agreements, and work in the general framework to make sure that the local population, the country, gets its fair share of the resources that it is protecting, that is so crucial for the rest of the world, right? And we want it to be verifiable. We want it to be where everybody at the table can see the protection that is happening. And that was, you mentioned the CYCLOPS system. We want verification to go along with all of this, because that will bring trust and accountability to the entire country. And one of the things I do want to also mention is the support of President Tshisekedi in this process. And President Joe Biden has mentioned about the importance of Congo Basin to President Tshisekedi on protection of the basin. And I think it's been really amazing to see the support from all levels of government, including President Tshisekedi and, of course, Minister Bazaiba, on this effort to preserve the forest.
Exactly. And thank you very much for the question. I think this is a moment that is historical for both our countries. You remember the US left the Paris Agreement at some times in the past, and then get back to the Paris Agreement. It's not about an agreement, but it's about the consciousness of having a responsibility to save the planet. And when President Tshisekedi, who is my president in the DRC, took office, one of the first decisions that he took was to support fully a new governance, especially in forest resources, because he said, and that's where some of you may have heard that the Congo has called itself country solution. Solution because we have understood that we have an asset, the forest, that the world today needs. And that asset, yes, it belongs to us because it is on our territory, but the services that it produces, the services that it renders are worldwide services. So I call it a historical moment because on the one side you have the US that is today supportive to fighting against climate change. And on the Congo side, we have a president and a government that is ready to give whatever it can give to save the forests. So why not take advantage of this moment, of this time, to make steps as big as possible? Because my president, Tshisekedi, said 3 days ago here in the UN, during one of the meeting in the UN, that he has vowed, he has pledged to put the minimum is 30% of our country under conservation. But in the ministry, we received instructions to make more than 30%. But we cannot do that just because we want to do it. It takes a partnership, because putting a forest under preservation or protection means that the people, as just that lady whose example I gave, we will tell her, Mom, don't cut down the trees anymore. We're going to assist you with other ways of making agriculture very sustainable. And that means money. It means finances. So the country have resources to protect, but doesn't have all the resources to ensure that protection. You have resources, but you don't have forests to protect. So let's make this deal through carbon marketing. And I'm happy about the way I followed partially your presentation concerning the CYCLOPS and all the integrity and all the mechanism that you're putting in place. We need that. We need that to make sure that the system is trustable, the system is yielding results that are real results and that are helping the climate system. So in that, I think I can only support and give all the effort that we can to both our presidents, Joe Biden and Tshisekedi in the Congo, for their effort and championship for forest preservation.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, this partnership, this deal will be a benchmark for the carbon markets, for environmental conservation. We intend to finally compensate in a fair manner, in a large manner, countries that do their work to preserve natural resources. We want to make sure that it's verifiable, and we would, we intend for the CYCLOPS system to be used here and across the Democratic Republic of Congo to help with environmental protection, to make sure that every aspect of the forest can be monitored, and we can finally enable the local population to have resources to go beyond living just off the forest and to live, to get compensated for all the important work they do in preserving these ecosystems.
I think this is absolutely fantastic and historical. And I'm tempted to invite all of you in 5 years, or maybe less, after the implementation of this new system, to come by yourself and see what you have been able to do through supporting a working system and through supporting forest conservation in a context that really and badly need that support from your companies, your constituencies, your provinces, and yourself as an individual. So let's get it done, and let's get it the proper way. And in 5 years, if I'm still alive, I will send some invitation to all of us here I will say welcome to Congo, and I will bring you to the countryside, and you will see what your work has been able to do in our context. Thank you.